Welcome to part 2 of the biggest and best games coming in 2022. In part 1 we looked at 10 of them, mostly those coming between January and March, so if you haven't watched that, I really urge you to do so. In part 2 we'll be looking at 10 more, and there's some fantastic ones you won't want to miss. Let's get into it. To start off, we have Kirby and the Forgotten Land, which drops sometime in the spring, and it's the first 3D action game in the series. As the name suggests, Kirby finds himself washed up on the shore of a strange, post-apocalyptic looking land, in which he encounters a Beast Corp, a group of enemies that will stand in Kirby's way any chance they get. Just like with previous entries, Kirby can suck up foes and copy their abilities, allowing you to use their unique powers in a 3D space. The blend of the vibrant colours and cutesy art style with the neglected, ruined environments is a unique mix that works really well. The reveal trailer gives off a Mario Odyssey-like vibe, which is certainly not a bad thing. Next we move on to a sequel to what I think is the best game of the last generation, God of War Ragnarok. Originally due in 2021, but delayed due to lead actor Christopher Judge needing surgery, this entry takes place 3 years after the ending of the last game, with all-powerful gods such as Thor at their heels and Ragnarok quickly approaching as they search for Tyr, the Norse god of war, who was believed to be dead. Topping the previous entry is going to be no easy feat, but the reveal gives us a glimpse at some fantastic visuals and set pieces that leave a great impression. Santa Monica haven't really talked about anything in regards to new gameplay additions yet, but I have every faith this latest entry will live up to expectations, and unlike Kratos, I'm hoping this Ragnarok comes sooner rather than later. Bayonetta 3 was announced all the way back in 2017, and up until very recently, we've only had a logo to gaze at. However, we now have a full trailer and confirmation that it's coming sometime in 2022. The third installment sees Bayonetta once again don a new look, as she stylishly and effortlessly dispatches her enemies, this time in Tokyo, against mysterious life forms that have invaded and are neither demon nor angel. While it's nice to finally see the game after so long, let's hope whatever development problems they may have faced hasn't hampered the overall quality. So far though, it looks like it's meeting everyone's expectations and pushing the Nintendo Switch as much as possible. The next mainline Final Fantasy is creeping ever closer, with this one taking a step back from the more technologically advanced settings of the last couple of major releases, but retaining the more real-time action combat system. The story is a tale of vengeance, with the main character Clive Rossfield going down a dangerous road of revenge after tragedy occurs involving his younger brother and the dark icon Ifrit. Initially it will be exclusive to the PS5, however it sounds like 6 months to 1 year later it could come to PC and or Xbox. What is interesting is that they're placing a greater emphasis on the English dub over the Japanese one, which is usually the opposite way around for JRPGs, so that should mean we get good lip syncing and overall great localization. There have been many Harry Potter games over the years, most of which have been underwhelming movie tie-ins. However, in 2022 we're set to get a brand new game that tells an original story long before the events of the books in the 1800s. Hogwarts Legacy places you in the hands of a student who holds the key to an ancient secret that threatens the entire wizarding world, and it'll be completely up to you whether you use it for good or evil. You'll have an open world to explore with plenty of RPG elements to dive into. You can customize various elements of your character, from their gender to their build, and even influence the house they join. Zelda Breath of the Wild was a huge success, so much so that many games have been copying and taking inspiration from it since, so it was only natural that Nintendo wanted to produce a direct sequel. Breath of the Wild 2, which has yet to have an official subtitle, extends to the mysterious skies above Hyrule and will seemingly feature a darker story. During the initial reveal we saw a green energy envelop Link's right arm, and it looks like this will play into a new gameplay mechanic, judging by the latest trailer. Either way, the sequel can build off the already great foundations of the first and improve some of the minor complaints people had, such as the lack of traditional dungeons. This is going to be one hell of an entry in the series. When A Plague Tale Innocence dropped in 2019, I was pleasantly surprised by how good it was, considering it's not a AAA game and was developed by a studio that didn't have many notable games under their belt. Thankfully the first sold very well, with a direct sequel called A Plague Tale Requiem planned for 2022. Little is known on what new challenges will face Amicia and Hugo this time around, but it's clear the plague is still a major threat, as well as the brutal, uncaring world itself. The sequel won't be releasing on last-gen consoles, which should mean it can take advantage of all the horsepower the new consoles offer, and if you're a Game Pass subscriber, you can play it day one at no extra cost. Next up we have Gotham Knights, an action RPG by WB Games Montreal, which sees the potential death of Batman, leaving Robin, Red Hood, Batgirl and Nightwing to defend Gotham City against a new threat, the Court of Owls. While it might initially appear so, it's not part of the Batman Arkham universe or connected to any of the other previous games. You can choose to play as any of the 4 characters along with up to 3 other friends via co-op, and WB Games have described it as the most dynamic and interactive Gotham City to date, so there should be plenty to keep you and your friends occupied. While the last DC game isn't set in the Arkham universe, Rocksteady's latest project, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, is. You are placed in the hands of Harley Quinn, Deadshot, Captain Boomerang and King Shark as you try to take down the Justice League after Brainiac invades Earth and brainwashes humanity, including titular heroes like Superman. Much like Gotham Knights, you can play it entirely solo, where you can change between any of the characters, or with up to 3 others via online co-op. Unlike Gotham Knights, however, it will be skipping the last-gen consoles, so it should be a more visually impressive title that makes more use of the current-gen tech. And for the final game, we have Starfield on November 11th, a new action RPG by Bethesda. Little is known about Starfield at the moment. We've had a quick teaser but no actual gameplay, so to have a hard release date that's a year away is quite unusual, but we do know it'll be similar to that of Fallout and Elder Scrolls with a space theme, and that's enough to have me excited for now. Bethesda are describing it as a wholly new next generation experience, but we'll have to see if the hype is justified when they show gameplay in the near future. That's it for part 2. If you haven't watched part 1, make sure to go back and check it out. Thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you in the next video.